welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Cassie, also known as KnittaCass. This is my YouTube channel where I share about all the things that I have been knitting, sometimes some crochet, patterns that I'm drooling over, a little bit about my farm life on a small family farm in Vermont, and a spice of mental health. So grab your favorite beverage and a project to work on and come chat with me for a little bit. I, of course, have my preferred beverage. This is equivalent to most people's morning coffee, except I drink it all day long. I know it's a bad thing, but if I'm going to have one vice, this is probably not as bad as some other vices. Okay, so first of all, it's been a while since I've seen you. I did do Vlogmas and I did almost daily vlogs. A few times there was a couple days smushed together, but I showed a little bit about some of the day in the life, some things that my family were doing to gear up for Christmas, showing my advents, and if you're interested, go ahead and check those out. If I can figure it out, I'll put a little link where you can click it. Otherwise, I am in the works of making a playlist, so go ahead and check it out. I'm not going to go over everything that I would have done in the vlog, like I'm not going to show you every advent yarn that I got, but I will catch you up to speed on some of the bigger things that I would typically include in my podcast. So first of all, I do have some finished objects. My smallest finished objects are these cute little socks. I think I made 3 pair. They're from Yarn Cafe Creations. She made 24 days of sock ornaments. So there's this really cute one with some textured baubles. That one was kind of fun and also kind of a pain to make, and it's a funky shape. I don't know why. Then there's this one which was super fun texture to make. I will put the name of the ones down below. So I'll put the name of the red one down below, the name of the blue one down below. I was going to make one every day, and then I got a little bit behind because this red is day 1 color from the Yarn Cafe Creations Disney Princess Advent. So this was day 1. It was the Evil Queen, and her day 1 sock pattern, this yarn was way too busy for you, couldn't really see it. So a couple days later, another pattern had come out and I thought it would be perfect with this color, and it came out great. I did make some improvisations. She wanted you to repeat the pattern 3 times, but it was getting kind of long. So I did the pattern twice, and I did that on this sock and whatever mysterious sock number 3 is. I'll probably find that after I'm done editing and uploading to YouTube, but that's fine. So I got behind, and then I thought, okay, I have a long weekend coming up. I'm just going to catch up. Well, I never did. And then I was working on another Advent project, and that wasn't really working very well. The last Advent project that I decided to work on ended up taking longer. I'll talk a little bit more about what I decided to do with my Advent yarns in my whips. But long story short, none of my original Advent projects were really working or making me happy. And by the time I kind of figured out what was going on, I got really sick, and then it was a holiday. So I'm really far behind on my Advent project, and I'm actually okay with that. I will talk a little more about when I get to whips. I also finished my Advent socks. This was my number 1 priority for my Advent. So it was the Cozy Knitters 24 Stripes Advent socks. I think this is the 3rd year. Yeah, this is the 3rd year that I've gotten it. And the last 2 years, I have split it with a friend in the Love and Stitches membership because it is enough to make 2 full pairs of socks. And what's pretty cool is when the package comes, it's wound in 2 different skeins. If you're familiar with the Cozy Knitter socks, the idea is to 1 stripe a day. And the last 2 years have been so similar that when I pull them out of my sock drawer, I really don't know which one's which. I mean, they have different contrast heels and cuffs, but the yarn itself looks identical almost. And so that there has been some talk about that. Well, this year she blew me out of the water. This was so fun to knit. So it ended up being this really fun rainbow gradient. And so it took me a little bit to realize where to start. But the last 2 years, you've started in like this kind of gray color. So that's where I started. And then there's all these different greens. In fact, I think to like this light green, there's like 5 days, even though it doesn't really look like it. It was really difficult in the greens and really difficult in the blues to know whether you stopped on the correct day. It almost seemed like until you got to the end of the blue or end of the green, that's when you started to be able to see the little nuances of differences. So I was either like behind or days ahead, but I could not put this project down. If I didn't have the restraint to slow it down, I probably could have whipped these out in a couple days. They were so much fun. And then I have this plain gray, which was a scrap that I used for my heels and my toes, and it worked pretty well. I don't usually knit the length of my socks so long, but the last 2 years I have knit what I would consider a longer leg than what I normally do, and then started the heel. And what I had to do on the foot of the sock was do some math so that every stripe still could be represented. And one pair, I think it was my first year, I actually ended the toe of the sock on a stripe just to make sure that I could have all the stripes. So this year, with that in mind, I decided I would make the length of my sock longer and then start the heel. But then I got to the end of the light pink, start of yellow, and I began to get really nervous that I was going to run out of striping yarn before I reached the toe. And I was kind of freaking out because I didn't want like half or less of my toe, half or less of my foot to be stripes and then the rest be gray, because that would just look really weird. I would have done it, but so I was really stressing out. And then I got to this last, like this stripe right before the kind of brownish stripe, and I was like, oh my God. So I tried it on and I was like, I think it's going to be just enough. And luckily, gray starts is just before where I would normally do a toe, so it doesn't look funky. So here's number 1, and it's got this really cute progress keeper on it. This is part of the Adore Knits Advent that I did for Christmas this year. And then this is sock number 2. It's completely done, except I haven't kitchenered the toe because I can't find my darning needles. So 2 pairs of Advent socks. Quite an adventure to make sure that I got to the toe in time without running out of stripes. But it worked out perfectly. I also finished my sister's socks, so I was working on a pair of socks for my sister. They are the spider socks. I'll post a picture in here of them finished. I did mail them out to her in a small little care package for the holidays. They were super fun to make. I made them out of a yarn by Into the World, and it was a colorway that I picked up at Rhinebeck. I instantly thought of my sister when I saw it. And then I saw one that was like, this one was a lot of blues. And then I saw one that was like a lot of purples. And I sent both to my sister and I was like, which one do you like better? Because she's usually like a purple and green kind of gal. And she said, oh, I like the blue one better. So I bought the yarn and I made her the spider socks in the yarn. And then I mailed her what was left of the yarn so she can choose what to do with it. So that was really fun. I was really excited that I got to finish that in time to mail it out. I also knit 4 washcloths, which means I actually did knit 12 washcloths for this year. That has been my goal for the last couple years, and I have been sucking pond water, but this year I did it. I mailed a couple to my mom and a couple to my sister with some little Christmas packages. And they were pretty basic, but they were like red and green. And then there was one that I got at Joann Fabrics, which was white, and then it had like red and green in it. And it just kind of reminded me of like candy cane like. So that was really fun to work with. Yeah, I think that's it for finished objects. I do have a couple of finished squares for my Advent project, so I will show that next. So this is my Cozy Memories blanket. It's been a WIP for a long time. I don't really prioritize working on it. But after trying to decide what to do for an Advent project, I decided to put the squares in my Cozy Memories blanket. So originally I was going to knit one of the Yarn Cafe Creations socks a day and then put that stripe in a shawl called the Outline. I think it's the Outline shawl. If I'm wrong, I'll put it down below. And I just was questioning whether it was long enough because I kind of wanted to make it like a throw blanket. And I also just like wasn't enjoying it. Like I just didn't want to pick it up. Nothing wrong with the pattern. It just wasn't working for me. So then I decided, like, why stress about it? Let's put it into my blanket. That way I'm using the yarn and I'm also working on a WIP. That's a pretty big project. But I am very behind. So I'm in the middle of a square. So we'll do this. I do have stoppers, so I should be okay. So let's see here. This, of course, I'm showing you the wrong side. This is day 1. And then this is day 2. And then I couldn't figure out which were which days because they came in little packages like this with the day, and this part rips right off. So some of the days I ripped it right off and didn't keep the number with it. So I also gave myself grace and decided that I could just throw them in there. Like, it doesn't matter what order they're in. One of my friends in the Love and Stitches membership kept reminding everyone when they were feeling behind in their Advent projects that there was no Advent police. Like, no one's going to be checking up on you and making sure you're doing it like on time or in the right way. So I embraced that thought. But I have 1 square, 2 square, 3 square, 4, and they've got this really nice Stellina base. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, I'm a little bit further than I thought. 11, and the very start of 12. This is the color, super, super pretty. So yeah, if I'm on day 12, I'm kind of halfway through. That's not so bad. But it is pretty fun to work on this WIP. That is just about a little bit bigger than lap size, but look at this. This is going to take me forever. Why do I do this? Anyone else do that? Like, obviously, I know I'm going to have to go back and wind in my ends. Why do I wait? I do the Stephen Weavin method on like lots of other projects. I don't know. Some of these are old before I learned the Weavin' Stevens, but now that I know it, I'm still being lazy about it. Look at, I don't know. Anyways, so that's been fun. And then what I'm doing is, if I haven't used it, it's in a package, if I kept the package, in a hank. And if I have used it, I'm leaving it in the ball and stuffing it in a bag. Why am I putting it in the bag? I have no idea. Could I just put it in my regular scrap bin? Absolutely. But if you've been around a while, you know I like to make things complicated. This is my scrap bin. So these have things that have been used as scraps multiple times or came as an advent. This is one of last year's advents. So yeah, they don't need to go back in a bag. That's okay. It's giving me peace. That's what I'm going to roll with. I also still have not worked on my sweater. I believe you saw that it had a neckband, but I'm not positive. It's in this nice, cute little peekaboo bag that I got at Rhinebeck a couple years ago. This is the Campfire cardigan. And so it's supposed to look like embers of a fire coming up the back. And it's really sweet. The problem I have with it is that the neckband and button band were knit together. And so at the bottom, it looks like this. And so it kind of like cinches up. So I'm hoping it will block out so it's a little more even here. But it fits perfectly. Just needs sleeves. And it is made out of this really, really pretty yarn. It's kind of got like green and different colors of green in it, a little bit of blue in it. And I'm holding it. It's called Pennies from Heaven. And it's by Little Fox. And then I'm holding it with this mohair, which I have long lost the ball band. And it's so funny that these two colors are so different and they just look magnificent together. It gives it this really iridescent kind of look. So I haven't picked that up at all, but I'm hoping to pretty soon. I'm also working on my crochet blanket, which I really haven't touched at all. But I look forward to sitting down and being cozy and really working on my crochet skills. So hopefully that'll be something that I focus on. What else do I have for whips? And then in this really fancy bag that I got my yarn in, I am working on the Find Your Joy socks. So this is the Find Your Joy socks. It is a cute little textured pattern with right twist and left twist. And I know that the yarn is pretty busy. You can't quite see the pattern, but you can see that there's a pattern and that there's some texture. So I'm okay with it. This is a sock set from Pretty Twisted Yarns. It's from a dye event that we did with, I think her name is Teresa of Pretty Twisted Yarns and Natalie of Love and Stitches. And it was inspired by like gingerbread and holiday colors. And so there's this really cute blue and a really cute pink, which I'll show you in just a minute. And then this really fun, supposed to be some micro striping, but I think even if I knit plain stockinette, I don't think it would show up as micro striping, but that's just my opinion. Anyways, it's super pretty. It's on the Stellina base. And I just love the way the colors played together. And it definitely reminds me of gingerbread. So I've gotten this one. I like to make shorty socks, not shorties, but like ankle socks. So this one is ready for the heel. So I decided to start the second sock. I'm going to try to knit them in tandem. This is the really cute pink, also on the Stellina base. So I have just started the ribbing on this one. And I'm going to knit this one until I get to the heel, and then we're going to go back and forth. This sock is going to have the cuff in the pink and the toe in the blue, and the other sock has the blue on the cuff and it'll have the toe in the pink. So that is it for whips. I do want to take a moment to kind of show a little bit about my advent. So I got 3 advents this year. One is the Yarn Cafe Creations Advent, the Disney Princess. I chose Belle. So there was 24 days of minis and they all represented a character from fairy tales. You would almost expect that it would be like the princesses and the villains, but a lot of it was kind of the side characters. Like there was Scuttle, there was Gustav, there was, oh man, Sven. I'm trying to think what else. There was Mishu, I think it is, one of the dragons in Mulan. So that was pretty fun and surprising. And then on day 25, you got a full skein. And this is what my full skein is. It is more pink in person, which I love pink. It's called Belle. It's on her Glace Silver Stellina. 75% superwash merino, 15 nylon, and 10% silver stellina. And that is super pretty. I'm absolutely in love with it. Not sure what I'm going to use it for. I will say I'm a little disappointed in the advent. Not the yarn. I really enjoyed the yarn. But when I ordered it, it kind of showed that there was going to be minis and a full skein, and there was images of her little stitch markers, needle stoppers. I swear, and I could be completely wrong because I ordered it in the summer, but I did expect to get some bell needle stoppers. That could just be an unreasonable expectation on my part. So like, no shade. Just was a little sad when I opened the full skein, but absolutely no shade. And then I got an advent swap with my friend Deborah. We saved up some minis and sent 12 minis to each other to open, and I opened them December 1st to December 12th. Here's an example of one of them. This was day 8, and they came in these cute little bags. It was so much fun opening it. So thank you, Deborah, if you're watching. I had a blast opening the advent that you created for me. The third advent I got was a progress/stitch marker advent that I got from Adore Knits. I ordered, I don't remember the name of it. There was names of different types of packages you get, but I got like the full shabam. So I got progress keepers, stitch markers, extra goodies, a project bag, and a full skein. And my project bag is in the other room, so I'll just send a picture. There was a note in the advent that said like, do not share the project bag. Like, you can use the project bag, but don't share it. And I think there was a lot of glimpses in my Vlogmas, but I didn't like openly say that's where it was from. So hopefully that's okay. Full skein, since it's right next to me. This was the full skein that we opened on day 25. It is by Holly Press Fibers. I have not used their yarn, so that's pretty exciting. It's on their Sheepish Sock fingering yarn, 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon, and it is called Tree Farm. And it is so fun and so Christmassy. I think what I'm going to do is save it for next year and knit Christmas socks out of it. I forgot to say, in my advent with Deborah, she sent me this package of these cable stoppers, so I've been using them a lot to keep the stitches from sliding off my needles, and I've never seen or used these before, so that was super fun. So thank you again, Deborah. Let's see if I can do this. This are all the progress keepers and all the stitch markers. I actually think I'm missing a few in a couple project bags from Adore Knits, and let me tell you, this is so much. I'll put a little video of me getting closer in this tin. But I do want to show you some of the progress keepers and special stitch markers. So every day I had like a little package, and it had a bunch of the assorted rings. And then it had 2 like special stitch markers or progress keepers. My favorite, I think, is Kevin McAllister from Home Alone. But then there was December 25th. There was a little penguin. Christmas wreath. This was also one of my favorites. This one is Rudolph. There's a yarn ball. Chilling with my snowmies. Christmas tree. Mitten. This one was a big one. This was a big candy. This one was day 1, and it reminded me of like a cozy, like Santa Claus's home or Mrs. Claus's home. Some ice skate. There's the snowman from Rudolph. There's even a scarf. Super, super cute. And now I have a bunch of progress keepers and a bunch of stitch markers. Then there also was extras. There was some hot cocoa, a couple of face masks, a ruler, these cute scissors that smush together. Look at that. Oops, what did I do? So cute. There was a shawl pin one day, needle gauge. It was super fun. I will definitely order hers again next year. I had a blast. I wasn't disappointed a single day. I was very excited to open it, and I'm just in love with the goodies, and the thought and work that she must have put behind this advent is incredible. I'll also show you my yarnables. So my December yarnable theme was Frosty Fox. This is the yarn, super pretty. Definitely reminds me of winter and like ice skating. And the extras come in this cute little bag that's kind of tough that you can use as a notions pouch. And the extras were this really cute Fox Progress Keeper. And then what they call a yarn sweater. So this is a, oh man, what's the word? A cozy, a yarn cozy. So those were super cute. Let's see. I don't have any other acquisitions, but that's quite a lot for me. But of course it was December. And yeah. Hi guys, Editing Cassie here. So just wanted to pop in and take a moment. I had done a giveaway announcement, and I am here to choose a name from my most recent podcast episode. And so it's Anne STOIOFF 4351. I'll put a little picture in of her comment. And so you have won a skein and a pair of earrings from Baslo Designs. The skein I have not yet decided, but it'll be a brand new unused skein. So if you could message me at funneverends4@gmail.com, I will get your mailing address and get your prize shipped out to you. And on that note, if you are a new subscriber, thank you, welcome. I hope you enjoy it here. And if you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for hanging out and coming to chat with me. So for books I'm reading, I am listening to From Blood and Ash on Audible still. I don't listen to it very much, although I have been listening to it a lot this past week while I'm doing some straightening, laundry, just like things that I can multitask with because I'm really trying to finish the book. I was just listening to it way to and from work, and sometimes I would just want to listen to music, so I wasn't getting very far in it. But I got a lot of books for Christmas, and one of them is the sequel, so I have been listening to it like crazy trying to finish it. I'm also reading Foxglove, which is the sequel to Belladonna by Adeline Grace. Very slowly reading it, really only reading it on my breaks at work when I'm not knitting. It's a good book, I'm just not giving it time. And then I'm reading this book, which my dog ruined, but I can still read it. This is A House of Fallen Night by Samantha, I don't know, I'll put it down below. This is the sequel. It might be a prequel or sequel, it's hard to tell, but it is part of the Priory of the Orange Tree series. very good. My sister was reading it ahead of, well, we were going to read it together, and then we both put it off, and then she devoured it, and I've been really slow because I've been making little book notes and writing down the characters and some important things, which has slowed me down significantly. And it's hard to read at night because it's heavy to hold while you're laying down. I am so close to finishing, and it is getting so good. So today is a day off where the kids are at school, and I've done some phone calls, I've done chores, but I've mostly been reading this book. One, because it's amazing, and I want to talk to my sister about it, and two, because I have all these books that I got for Christmas that I want to read. But I do have to start this book pretty soon. This is All the Light We Cannot See by Anthony Doerr. Lots of talk about this book in the last year. It's apparently been out for a while, but the last year or so, people have really, really been talking it up. It's won a couple awards, and it is our book club book in the Love and Stitches membership. So my sister read it. She said it was a really good book, and she sent it to me to read for my book club. So I'll probably start this today or tomorrow because we're meeting on the 16th, and I really look forward to reading it. This book I want to get to as soon as possible, but I want to finish the sequel to From Blood and Ash because I can read 3 books at once, but sometimes if I do so and then I wait a little while to read the next in the series, I have to like refresh my memory and kind of skim the first book or the most previous book. So I want to read that right away. So All the Light We Cannot See and the sequel to Blood and Ash are going to be my first 2 books that I get started in. And I'm probably going to feel rushed because this has been on my to be read list for an entire year, and I got it for Christmas. This is Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros, and this one is also one that has been talked about so much. Yeah, I want to read it so bad. And this one, I never even heard of. Didn't know it was coming out, which I guess I'm kind of slacking. When did this come out? It came out in 2023, but it's by Dean Koontz. Dean Koontz and Stephen King are my 2 favorite authors ever, and I have read most of both their books. And so I was Christmas shopping and just looking through things and found this book. And while finding this book, I realized there's a handful of his books that have come out in the last few years that I've not read. So this one is After Death, and I look forward to reading this one as well. He is an amazing author. This one is my favorite local author. She writes horror slash thriller that's like supernatural-ish, but she makes it seem like it's 100% possible to really happen. Amazing. This is My Darling Girl. It came out by Jennifer Mahan. It came out in October. We were very financially strapped in October, so I didn't buy it. And my husband got it for me for Christmas. So that's pretty exciting. This one is A Kingdom of Flesh and Fire by Jennifer Armentrout. This is the sequel to From Blood and Ash, so I will be reading this pretty soon. And then the last book I got, I've never heard of. It was in their discount section in Books A Million. And it is Foul Lady Fortune, and it's like this, I haven't read the cover in a while, but basically this lady is like a badass spy, and it's just sounds really cool. And I'm not really like a spy reader, but something about it just caught my eye. I think the cover art and the font, and then when I was reading the book jacket, I was like, okay, gotta give it a go. I mean, $6, $7, gotta try it. Farm life. Nothing is happening. Nothing new, nothing exciting. The only thing I have to share is that we have a elusive bunny who apparently got out on Thursday and has been roaming the barn carefree ever since. Speedy little booger, hard to catch him. I haven't been at the barn in several days, which is why I just found this out this morning. So I went over and did chores. I arrived before my in-laws and the cage was wide open, no rabbit to be found. And I was like, oh my God, I don't know how this happened, but this is not good. Last winter, we had a mink that ate rabbits and chickens, and so I was panicking a little bit. So anyways, I did find the rabbit, and the rabbit was kind of taunting me. He would appear at random moments during chores this morning, and then like I'd try to go near him, even cautiously, and he just zoomed away. So my father-in-law and I were trying to catch him this morning. It was ridiculously funny. Like if someone was there and watched us, they would have had a pretty good time. We did end up tricking him back into his cage, but there are a couple of small holes in the front that we put like this old piece of kind of tin roofing in front of it. And we were so excited about getting him back in there that we forgot to put the tin thing there. Needless to say, by the time we went back to check on him and finish our chores, he was gone again. So it's never a dull moment. Family life. We had an amazing Christmas. I hope you had an amazing holiday season as well. We had a lot of time to relax over the holiday weekend and enjoy the kids while they were on holiday break. We didn't really do a whole lot other than enjoy each other's company, which honestly is so nice not to stress and run around and do a bunch of crazy stuff and just like enjoy each other. We did go to an indoor trampoline park this past Saturday, which was a lot of fun. That was a Christmas gift from my mom. She paid for us to go, which was pretty great. And otherwise, we just ate too much, had too many sweets, enjoyed family, and just really had a great time. Nothing else is going on with our family right now, which is perfect. This brings me to my favorite segment of my podcast. This is my spice of mental health. If you're new here, welcome. I should have said that earlier. So if you're new here, welcome. If you're coming back, thank you so much for your support. But if you are new here, at the end of my podcast, I like to do a spice of mental health where I leave you with something to think about or sometimes some homework of something to do to help fill your cup and just be really kind to yourself. So what I want to tell you this time is it's January, it's a brand new year, and that can be a really stressful time. First of all, we're coming out of the holiday hustle and bustle and all the stress and expectations we put on ourselves and expectations from family or whatever it may be. And now it's the beginning of the year and everyone feels pressured to make these huge lists of things they're going to do or make a big goal or resolution, and they feel like they have to hit the ground running. And I think that this year, and I hope you join me, that we should take January to breathe and reset and relax. You know, we just did all this craziness. We just wound up a year, whether it was good, bad, indifferent. Let's regroup. It's a new year. We don't need to set expectations and goals and rush right into it. We have a whole year to do whatever we want to do. And this should be a good month to just breathe, appreciate what you have around you, take care of yourself, get some sleep, rest, and just not put the pressure on yourself to do whatever it is you feel pressured to do by society. I'm going to spend January enjoying time with my family, getting used to my new job, making sure that I'm getting plenty of sleep, and reminding myself when I feel pressured to set this year's goals that I have time to think about them and time to achieve them, and I don't need to do it all right now. So I hope that you take January to reset and relax and fill your cup, and happy crafting. I'll see you next time. Bye.